Dan Dickau here for Gonzaga Nation. A little bit of interesting and maybe some disappointing news for a lot of Gonzaga fans. Drew Timme being waived by the Milwaukee Bucks. If you've obviously been following Drew's career over the course of the summer after his time at Gonzaga, you know that he went undrafted. Within 24 hours, the Milwaukee Bucks signed him to an Exhibit 10 contract, which is great to see for a young player in that situation, being picked up and signed to that contract so quickly. Had some opportunities in summer league where he played well, but his numbers weren't as gaudy as you are used to from the Drew Timme of Gonzaga days. He averaged about 5 points a game or so in summer league in Las Vegas. But the big part about summer league in that he earned the respect and some opportunities from the Milwaukee Bucks is he was back in Milwaukee throughout the end of the summer and early fall, working out with the team, getting ready for training camp, and they signed him to a two-way contract, which a two-way contract essentially is where a NBA parent club owns your full contract, but then they have the ability to send you down even more to the G League, kind of almost on a as needed basis for any ball club for game minutes and reps, for practice minutes and reps, etc. So it would have been a really great learning experience in year one for Drew to be on a two-way where he can kind of really have the flexibility to be with both teams and both rosters, because many times a young player, you're learning the NBA game, but you're not getting those NBA reps and the experience that comes along with those reps. So when you get the reps in practice, it's different than the reps in a game. So then you would get reps in practice sent down to the G League affiliate, because usually they're 1-to-1 NBA team to G League team close by. So then you would get those game reps to gain that experience and rapidly improve in that way. But signed to that two-way, it was looking like a positive, like it might be a good opportunity for him with the Bucks, especially after another roster spot opened up with the Damian Lillard trade. But as anybody that follows professional basketball closely knows, that you're always going to have a lot of guys invited to training camp, players that maybe the average fan doesn't know or recognize or remember. Somebody who might have been a terrific college player 4 years ago that's been playing over in Europe has continued to improve and work on his craft. He comes back and takes advantage of an open roster spot. Those are so many times things that happen that are the average fan's eye are oblivious to. But that being said, Drew had two preseason games that he made appearances in, scored in one of them, didn't score in the other. But today the Bucks placed him on waivers. So what that means essentially is other NBA teams have 48 hours to pick up his rights with that exact contract, a two-way contract, in the next 48 hours. And Drew would be the rights, the property of that team. If no team picks him up, which I think no team will pick him up, because a lot of what happens towards the end of training camp now with 3, 4, 5 days left before the regular season kicks off is there's some jockeying of contracts across the league of when do we waive a guy so that we don't think someone's going to pick him up, so then we can sign him to a G League contract with our team. Well, that's exactly what I think's going on with Milwaukee. Is they're probably trying to get ahead of it where maybe they waive guys knowing that other teams that still have full training camp rosters haven't released guys yet, and they're going to be an influx of guys in the quote pool of players that are looking for opportunities to find new homes. If they can get that out ahead, understand and know that another team's not going to pick them up, they know for sure, or with a lot of certainty, that they're going to be able to sign him with their G League team, the Wisconsin Herd. That's what I think's happening. They probably released him maybe a little sooner than maybe some people would like. Sometimes you want to say, hey, I was all the way up until the last day and I got waived, I got cut. Sometimes it's all opportunity based of like, hey, this is the best time for, and agents and organizations are having these conversations all the time. When's the best time so that we think his rights won't be picked up on the waiver wire, so then we can help kind of place the next step of his career? And I'm thinking that's what's the case with the Drew Timme waiving when it happened, so that they can get him with their G League affiliate, the Wisconsin Herd. Now, the only other unique thing here that might not be the case, might be, doubt it, is many times a player in their camp will ask to be waived because they have an opportunity or an offer from an overseas team. Now, I haven't seen any rumors. I haven't seen anything online or social media that Drew's got interest from teams over in Europe, but it wouldn't be surprising me if that would be the case, because a lot of times that does happen. A player will ask to get waived from training camp so that then they could go overseas and make a lot more in guaranteed money. The reason I don't think that would be the case is, Drew has stated multiple times that, his goal is to make it in the NBA. He's focused on that. He's not looking overseas. The other reason I don't think that would be the case just yet is the European domestic leagues. They've been going for a few weeks now. The Euro League, I think they're moving into week 2 of those games. So there's a lot more movement in European basketball than there is in the NBA typically, because of how contracts are structured. But I don't think that it's far enough along into their seasons where there's going to be a lot of movement yet, or going after a quote unquote rookie like Drew Timme. So lots of interesting things. I kind of wanted to pull the curtain back a little bit and kind of share some of the thoughts that might be going into why Drew's waived, when he's waived, what his next options may be. I would expect to see him again surface with the Wisconsin Herd, because by all intents and purposes and every indication is he had a good showing with the Bucks, because you're not going to take a young player on an Exhibit 10, move him to a two-way so soon if you really don't like what you're seeing. And by doing it when they did, I think it's a way for them to kind of shelter him from being picked up by another team, and so they can get him in a development opportunity with the Wisconsin Herd. I may be wrong, but we'll see what happens. But I would expect to see Drew Timme with the Wisconsin Herd when NBA G League roster training camps begin to be formed, which should be shortly after the start of the NBA season. So for Gonzaga Nation, appreciate you listening. Take care, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.